the chairman of SpiceJet. So let's cut across and listen in. Shireen, over to you.
Well, it's an airline that's hoping to script a revival story for itself. Joining us now is the man at the helm of the affairs, Mr. Ajay Singh of SpiceJet. Appreciate you joining us here on CNBC TV 18. Let me start by asking you if you can continue to sustain what we've seen you deliver in the first quarter. And I ask you that because of several reasons. One, of course, the load factors, which are significantly high, in fact, the highest that you've ever seen. Will this be sustainable given the fact that at this point in time, capacity continues to be constrained, even though you intend to up capacity by about 16% in this month? And also, seasonally, it is a good quarter because that's when the travel season actually happens and you've had the advantage of low oil prices. Is this kind of performance sustainable?
Well, as you know, SpiceJet has achieved occupancy factors of in excess of 92% the last 5 months. And that's been part of a deliberate strategy. This airline had shut down in December. And from there, it was important for us to start to revive consumer confidence. And we've done that in a variety of ways. The fact that occupancy factors have been so high reflects the fact that consumer confidence is actually coming back into the airline. Going forward, we are very confident that we'll be able to sustain high occupancy. It's difficult to say exactly what those numbers would be, and the strategies will keep changing from, at different points of time. But what we have achieved, and the reason that we've been successful, is that as oil prices have come down, and as a consequence of oil prices coming down, the tariffs have come down, the airfares have come down. Our occupancy factors have ensured that our total revenues remain the same. We've also focused on ancillary revenue and increased that, pretty dramatically over the last few months. And as a consequence of this, even as costs are lower, the revenues have sustained, and therefore we've been profitable. This, of course, Q2 is the weakest quarter of the year. And while we are in silent period and can't talk of our results, the fact is that it's clear from our occupancy numbers which are published that we will do significantly better than we did in the same quarter last year. And as you've said, we are coming into a strong quarter, which is a festive quarter, and we expect to do very well.
Okay, I'll get to your strategy going forward in just a bit, but let me ask you now in terms of bringing an investor on board, because that continues to be something that you are grappling with. Is this the right time to bring a financial investor on board? Where do current conversations with potential investors stand? Or are you in fact waiting for the Indigo IPO to be out of the way? Because the question is whether that will in fact re-rate the sector and perhaps be better news for players like yourself.
Firstly, I don't think investments are a challenge at all at this point in SpiceJet. SpiceJet is a profitable airline. SpiceJet has shown 2 quarters of profitability. The prospects going forward look very good. There are no cash flow issues at all in the company at this time.
So working capital is not an issue despite what the rumors seem to suggest at this point in time?
Not in the least bit, and that's clear from our numbers. From our perspective, the company doesn't need too much cash at this time. Cash will really be needed when we place large orders for aircraft, which we fully intend to do, in the future. So at that time, you're absolutely right. We expect that the Indigo IPO will be out later this month. That will re-rate the sector. There's very little reason why Indigo would be worth, would be valued at 25,000 crores, and SpiceJet would continue to be valued at under 2,000 crores. We expect that there will be a re-rating.
So the hope and the wait is in order for you to get a better valuation, because you believe the desperate times are behind you.
No, absolutely. There is no desperation. I think SpiceJet is on a very strong wicket right now. With obviously with growth, expected to pick up in the Indian aviation sector, and with SpiceJet settling down pretty nicely into the space, with high occupancy factors, with the continually lowering cost regime, we think that we have a great future ahead, and therefore we will take money when we need it. There's no reason to take money when we don't need it.
Okay, so at this point in time, you're saying that you're not necessarily in need of money, and hence potential conversations with potential investors perhaps on the back burner, or do the conversations continue? And would the preferred route really be talking to a foreign airline, or would you be looking at a clutch of investors?
Well, as SpiceJet has started to do better, we've been approached by both airlines and financial investors, and we continue to speak with them and keep up, a dialogue with them. But clearly, investments into SpiceJet will happen when it works, in the interest of SpiceJet, the company itself, and its shareholders.
Okay, let me ask you about expansion plans, because on Friday you put out your network expansion plans with 6 new aircraft that you're bringing in, 291 daily flights, 10 new sectors, 30 increased frequencies. You were talking about the need of the money when you actually place those large orders. The speculation is that 100 new aircraft is what SpiceJet will look for as far as the future is concerned. But what about the 42 that have already been ordered? When do we start seeing deliveries coming in?
The deliveries for those are expected. They start at end of 2017. Those are actually 55 planes. They are all, the Spice Max orders, and we expect to supplement those orders so that we have orders going for the next 10 years. So the orders that we place now could be in excess of the number you just suggested.
Could be in excess of 100.
Yes.
How soon do you intend to make that?
So we expect to place that order hopefully in this financial year, and we are in conversation with the aircraft manufacturers. We are also looking to see what we can do on the regional side, where we have Bombardier aircraft currently, and we are trying to see if there can be an expansion of the regional network as well.
When do you intend to take that decision as far as the regional route is concerned? Because that could perhaps work out to be a profitable sort of operation for you.
Well, at this time, both operations are profitable. The big aircraft, the larger aircraft operation is profitable, as is the regional aircraft operation.
Okay, that's SpiceJet, the stock now trading at high point of the day, but the market is at now at low point of the day. And why is that important is because, Sudarshan spoke about that 8130